So we never knew what happened.
They see big truck, they see big money.
Puncture on this vehicle ASAP, right now.
Right. Makhubalo is a small business. She does not have that. And I think they are then, if I want to call it, for lack of a better word, lazy to work with us.
How do you guys keep yourself, get your head, above the water all the time? How do you, and some people have got support, be it family, be it what, but what is it, what would you say are some of the things as a panel that you hold on a constant basis that keeps you going over and over and over again?
And you grow and you need those funds to actually grow with it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're looking into the abyss. There's no light yet. You're still chewing glass at the same time and thinking, am I going to get through this?
Don't look at it as a failure. It's not a failure. You just need to reinvent yourself. So reinventing yourself is very important in entrepreneurship.
The first driver that I employed, and she took it, I poached her from where I bought my first truck. And she came with loads of knowledge of the industry.
Yeah.
And she's my right hand.
Welcome to On the Road podcast, brought to you by the Road Freight SME Summit. It is about SMEs and it is for SMEs. I am Florence Musundwa and I have the honors of being the convener of the Road Freight SME Summit, which is a platform designed to really discuss and unpack the challenges and the solutions for SMEs within this industry. And it is our first episode for our first season, but I'm not by myself. In studio, I have my co-presenter for this season, which is Ntate.
Mark, hello. My name is Mark. I'm the chairperson of the Road Freight Summit, and this is On the Road. And we are here to give you content and talk about lovely entrepreneurs that we have here, but we'll get there when they introduce themselves.
Indeed. We are not by ourselves. For this first episode, for the first season, we've got 3 dynamic entrepreneurs who are in this industry, and by default, it's a female panel.
It is. It is.
Or is it by intention? Is it a female panel? It's a very special blend of Makhubalo, who's in logistics, Michelle, who's a tech entrepreneur, and also Tobeka, who is a tech entrepreneur. Welcome, ladies. How are you?
Welcome.
Good. Good.
Good. You are the first for the season, so we're going to have a very dynamic conversation just to set, the pace for this particular season. But just to start the conversation, how are you feeling about this new South Africa that we're in? We just had elections and we are getting into collisions, and I didn't see any of the political party stance on our industry.
No.
What's your guys' take? How are you feeling?
I'm just worried. Sitting here in the next hour, something might change.
As we get up here, there'll be breaking news somewhere.
Not too sure.
Not too
what
sure.
the next hour entails.
And that in the industry you're in, it's really, really, really all about that. But let us start. Take us back. Just give us context to your business, who you are, and what your business does. We can start with you, Makhubalo.
Okay, so my name is Makhubalo Mahapa. I run a business called Minor SA Transport and Logistics. So we are a bulk transporter that plays specifically in the construction space, and sort of recently started moving as well into the mining space. But predominantly most of the clients that we service are within the construction space. So I move material from your aggregates, I move sand, I move rocks for building roads. Wow. So that's the space that I play in.
Wow.
Sure, that's interesting.
That is.
Yeah, so we'll come back to you to kind of understand how you got into that space, because it's very interesting. And it's not there's not a lot of women there, is there?
No, I haven't come across women.
Really?
In that space yet.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there is somebody somewhere out there, doing something very similar.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Yeah, tell us about you.
Sure. So my name is Michelle Witherspoon, and we actually support fleet owners as well as workshops, as well as technicians, and the whole ecosystem on breakdowns. And so we actually developed software about 4 years back. So we were a COVID baby of invention and ideas.
Wow.
And yeah, we've come quite a long way. So essentially what we've got is we've got an app, which is like an Uber mechanic, for lack of a better word. And we provide full visibility on roadside breakdowns, everything commercial vehicles, and we give fleet owners the opportunity to sit in interviews and not be looking at their phones constantly, because we're handling all the background breakdown noise.
So it's an app, and then
Yes.
an accident happens?
So not an accident.
Yeah.
So any roadside breakdown. So it could be a tire breakdown. It could be a fridge. Your refrigeration doesn't work on your truck, or a horse breakdown, for instance. We actually connect your mechanic to the driver, and you've got full visibility as a fleet owner to watch a mechanic go to your truck, or alternatively, as a workshop, watch your mechanic servicing that breakdown. So yeah, it's an end-to-end ecosystem.
It's brilliant.
It is, and I think it will help a lot of transporters save costs, because breakdowns are a huge
100%.
cost element.
100%. Yeah, we focus on downtime. So
Yes,
we
yes,
try
yes,
to
yes,
minimize the amount of downtime, as well as promote safety on the roads.
Okay, good, interesting. It's mostly technology. Now, I'd assume that for the drivers, there would need to be some form of technology that links them up to that app, because they click and then you guys pick up
100%, or a control room. So so either way, we've got all the technology. So depending on your customer's needs, you can do it either way. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, thank you.
That's very innovative.
Yeah.
Tobeka?
My name is Tobeka Jangase. So I'm in the space of Internet of Things. We're in telematics space, where we do vehicle tracking, fleet management. So we assist fleet owners with getting the exact location of their trucks, their vehicles. We're not only limited to fleet and vehicles. We also have clients who are surveyors. If you want to get a certain point, a location, a point of interest for your field workers, you can also use our system as well. So that's the kind of technology we offer. So we assist and we give our business owners a bird's eye view of their operation, where the vehicle is, at what point, when they can open, maybe to unload, to offload at a certain point. So all of those points of interest, you can get them on our system. So that's
a very competitive space you are in. And how have you found, not even how have you found it, but what would you say sets apart Comtrack?
What sets Comtrack apart, I would say, is the fact that we focus on so many things. I understand that you get just vehicle tracking, and then you get just fleet management. So as a small business, we have the flexibility to focus on a lot of things and give each client the best service. For instance, we also service yellow plant. So you hardly find people moving into all those spaces. They just have a niche that they focus on. So we're an all-rounder. And as I did say, we don't just offer systems for fleet. We also offer the actual software. For instance, if you've got a fleet of 20 and you don't want to really bind yourself into a contract, you buy your own hardware, we offer you the system, and you just pay that certain fee monthly to access the system. So we also offer those services. So I think what sets us apart is being small, we have the flexibility to move around and change, add, remove. So we're also looking at moving into the mining space. Obviously, you need a specialist, but for your machinery and all of those things. So we have that space where we can just spread our wings. I think that makes us different.
Yeah, I think for me, what's interesting is how all you ladies started. I think that would be interesting because you're in a field that most people are not. Most ladies are in more ladylike fields.
What is that?
Is there such a thing? Why are you confining us to
but you're in a field that's not much common. Okay. So, for example, you're in construction. You said majority of your clients are construction clients. So maybe just take us through your journey. How did you get there? I'm very sure that's not what you studied at school.
No.
So how did you get to that point of now shifting and going into road freight, into construction particularly? Now you're doing a bit of mining. And maybe just take us through that journey.
I think I'd have to go all the way back.
Yeah, sure.
So, so my background, I actually used to run a very small sort of logistics company probably 20 years ago.
Wow.
For
20 years ago.
Yeah, I would say that. I think 2004. It is 20 years ago.
When did you fall in love with the truck?
No, let me just...
You are in love with trucks.
So at the time, it was actually not even trucking. So I don't know if you guys remember, back in the days, there used to be those guys that would approach you and say, I've got a contract, I'll sell you a contract, and yada, yada, I'll get you trucks, I'll get you buses. Yes, I fell for that as well.
Yeah.
So I got myself into that, and you realize 6 months into getting the buckies and all of that, that contract does not make sense, and you're not making money, and now you're stuck with a whole lot of debt and all sorts of stuff. So I ended up selling the vehicles I had at the time, and I moved into sports. So I've been a sports entrepreneur for the last 16 years or so. And COVID hit, and that industry shut.
Yes.
Completely.
That's right.
And you wake up and you're like, okay, what am I going to do? And fortunately for me, I network quite a lot in different spaces. So I was not confining myself to just networking within the sports industry. So I was sitting and having a conversation with a lady that I know, and I've known her for a very long time, and I was obviously talking to her about what I'm going through within the businesses that I have in the sports space. And she looked at me and she said, you used to be in logistics, didn't you?
Go back to your first love.
Yeah. And then I'm like, yes, I was. And she's like, why don't you actually go into that? Because so she sort of mentioned a couple of corporates that she knows that are always searching for particularly women in logistics.
Yes,
and she said, don't you want to try that? And it was like, okay. So she planted a seed.
Yeah.
And within other networks, and you attend these business seminars, and corporates will come up and go, we need women in logistics. We need this. And I'm like, there must be something onto this, you know? So yeah, from then on, I sort of started knocking on doors. And there was this particular door that they said, go knock there and try see, because they are desperate for women in this space. And I knocked on that door, and the gentleman there said, we are more than willing to have you on board. Right. Do you have a truck?
Yes.
And I'm like,
I'm going to get one.
I'm going to get a truck. I'm going to get a truck.
That's the
that's the part.
Yeah.
And now, I knocked on that door, so I kind of always now walk away and say, no, I don't have a truck. Then what was the point of me? I said, I'll come back to you. And I walked away, and I now had I didn't even know anything about the rates, how you work out the rates.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So I had a whole lot of homework
to do
that I needed to do.
Yeah.
So I went back, and now trying to find a truck, can't get finance because you're literally a newbie in the space.
Yes.
Back at it again.
Yes. So, fortunately for me, in how I actually ended up starting, I had a friend that believed in me.
Wow.
Oh, support. Good.
Yeah. That was, I'm like, okay, this is how much I have. And she said to me, okay, I will
help you out,
in this first truck.
So you got the truck, got into, I would assume the truck was for that specific construction space.
Yes. So,
and that was your foot in the door.
That was my foot in the door with that space.
Right.
So from then on, I obviously then started looking around to say, okay, then what it actually, whether I can say this sort of space chose me.
Yeah.
Because I found myself with a particular truck that then services this type of client. And then I'm like, okay, let's raise your head. Where else can you go where they will then be able to utilize this particular truck?
That particular truck, yeah.
Yes.
So it'd probably be specialized for that specific.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So that's when I was like, okay. Then I started approaching different clients within the same space of saying, okay. And that's how I actually started growing. And I think, the particular space within this logistics chose me.
Yeah, I like that. I like that.
It sort of directed
in hindsight.
me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Michelle, let me ask you this, because you have a technology that supports her business, for example. Yeah.
Yes. 100%.
So now, you obviously, for you to do an app, you would have to get quite creative, right? Or was it an app that you created, or was it an app that was there that you then customized for the need? Or did you have to develop the app and get that going? What was how did that journey go? Yeah.
Such a good question. So it's our software. So we found that in the industry, there was no software that existed that suited what our requirement was. So just to give a little bit of background on how we started, and maybe that will lead us to where we are right now. So my husband is actually a fleet owner. So
she got it from home. She didn't have to do much. She just got it from home.
There was a client already.
The client was there. Right there.
Exactly.
The client already.
Right there. So just in terms of the background, we've actually been quite involved, both my husband and I, in a dealer environment, and pretty much most of our careers. So the whole parts, sales, service side. I actually started in yellow metal, so Barlow Equipment and the Caterpillar brand. So I was there for about 15 years of my life. So all those little components of seeing it from every perspective. And then transitioning into my own consultancy, where I spoke on customer experience, I spoke on business-to-business relationships. And at the same time, my husband, he created a business with some of his partners in the concrete or mix, it's called Meteor, mixed concrete. And one of their major...
Those trucks that do this.
All of that.
All right.
And, when that truck stops, there's an urgency, you can imagine.
Right.
Perishable goods takes on a different meaning when it comes to concrete.
Yes.
So one of his issues always was, how do I connect a supplier or a technician to go and fix a puncture on this vehicle ASAP, right now? And what he found was that just the communication channels were just so complicated. He found that he was all the time on the phone. And I'm sure you can appreciate that. He was always looking at his phone and saying, well, surely there's a better way to do this. So we started speaking in about 2019. And this is a real pain point, a real issue, not just a nice to have. And there was no software in the country or what we found that would satisfy that need. So we started, he actually drew out a process map like this and said, something happens here. My background is in projects and process optimization. So for me, this was like a dream. You got a real pain point from a customer. You got a real issue. And now we're trying to connect every part of the dealership model as well as a customer mentality. What does a customer want? And then joining the two
the solution,
together.
creating that solution.
So we actually, it was that one room, you got two people in it, and you're literally just doing process maps to say, how do we get this right? And we contracted with the company to help us build the software initially. Subsequent to that, we've enhanced our technology. So we've got a software tech team, amazing team that runs and builds as we go. So it's created by a customer for customers, essentially.
Now tell me, these apps, often I've noticed with these banking apps, you can actually get onto the app without necessarily having Wi-Fi. Your app, I would assume it's driven by Wi-Fi. If you looked at data, if you looked at perhaps probably the second step to your business would be, for a driver who is in the middle of
Nowhere.
the Kalahari and needs to report that there is a puncture of some sort. Maybe that would be, I'm not sure if you've looked at it, because I'm sure your field, there's a lot of research that you have to do. What's happening out there? Somebody has got a similar app and how do you constantly always make sure?
Always innovate.
I can imagine, So there's definitely an innovative spin in how you manage your business.
There is, and I think just from a complexity, I think one of the challenges operationally or we go up to Zambia. So just in terms of Southern Africa as well as South Africa, your connectivity is a challenge. Your communication is a challenge.
Hundreds.
So one of the ideas that we brought into the app was an offline module as well. But you do always have the challenge of when you're in the complete spot where you don't have that connectivity. So, which is a challenge in terms of safety. You can imagine if you cannot connect back to control room, how are you going to get? So, that's definitely one of the challenges at the moment. But we're always looking for innovative ideas.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And I would like to, but I guess we'll come back around because I want to talk about how you then managed to grow your clientele in this space. Tobeka, on your end, some context?
Well, with me, I'd say contract came from experience. So as I did mention before, we were in the logistics space. So in the logistics space, we had trucks, like tipper trucks, and we were working, moving dry products, your manganese, coal, and all of those. So we lost a truck, so it got into a massive accident, and we just had a tracking unit. Obviously, I won't mention the name, but it was just a tracking unit. They couldn't even pick that up.
Mention the name.
It was never picked up. The truck actually caught fire. Luckily, our driver escaped. So we never knew what happened. Till today, we don't know what happened. It was just moved to the scrapyard. So then when we moved out of the logistics space, we said, from that experience, because we're thinking, what happened to our truck? What happened to the driver? Did they have a seizure?
And no one accounted.
No, because even the driver said he lost his memory. So we're like, okay. So now that's how we came up with the fleet management and vehicle tracking, because we also incorporated the cameras, artificial intelligence. So we were in the logistics space. We didn't see the importance of it. But at the end, it came to bite us. So hence we came up with this, and we wanted to let the other SMEs know that it's very important to have these things in your vehicles, because you have an asset worth millions and you lose it in a blink of an eye. So basically that's where it came from. That's where from logistics I was like, let's move into something else, because the space itself was no longer growing for us. It was very stagnant. So invested into this venture. Hence we are here today. So we are selling those fleet management. We've got the artificial intelligence cameras, which will assist with if there's any collision warning. If the driver is fatigued, it will let them know. Even yourself as the fleet manager, you will get that information on your side. So that's where the business came from.
I'll tell you, one of the things, your business is actually quite exciting, but for us, I mean, I'm also in the fleet business. The real-time tracking is so difficult, and I think a lot of people struggle to get it right. I want to know where fleet KN is, for example, and then I go to click KN and it says it's in Port Elizabeth, and when I look outside, I'm in Johannesburg, and it's and that's the way the challenge is, right? That real-time thing is where we struggle a lot, because, and I don't know how your business has managed to
encapsulate that.
Because the issue really is we want to know where it is
right now.
How have you made sure that and that your company and your product ensures that for customers like myself, if we then click on that fleet 101, whatever, it's actually where it's supposed to be?
Well, with our system, it's very advanced. We are the only ones with the license in Africa.
Hello!
That's what I'm talking about,
the system that we are using is very much advanced, but obviously with the country itself, you've got load shedding that comes.
Yes.
So it interrupts the network, it interrupts the connection. So due to those issues, it might have a fallback, but technically, if everything's fine, since we've had electricity all the time, no problems. No problem at all. Also get real-time location of the vehicle. You can see exactly what's happening. Even alerts are within seconds. You don't get an alert 5 minutes later.
Yeah.
It's within seconds. It's in real time. So everything is in real time.
I would assume your two products kind of
speak to each other. Yeah.
Because yours should have a tracking device. Or do you tap into the tracking device or use the app?
We tap into the tracking. So
they're integrated, right?
Yeah, one of the biggest challenges in breakdowns is where is the truck, right? So especially when you want to dispatch a technician, a mechanic to the truck, you want to be as accurate as possible. Otherwise you waste time, precious time. So, obviously decreasing downtime, we actually tap into telematics. That provides a location that we can make sure that the technician goes to the right place at the right time. It really does assist.
Yeah.
I want to know from you being an owner, right, Mahlako, of fleet, it's very capital intensive, and then you've got these bright sparks here coming to you with their solutions to optimize your business. How have you navigated that funding challenge? That for you to grow, you need money. And you need clients so that you'll be able to pay these two, right, as you grow your business. How have you navigated that? Because we all don't come from a context of plenty of money or even a network of people that can. Fortunately, you had a friend that had something to invest. But how have you managed to navigate that?
I think I've actually been fortunate with that because the banks don't want to touch you within your at least the first 24 months of being in the space, particularly in transport, and a lot of them don't want to fund trucks, and there's just always stories. And I think I can actually only say I've been fortunate that I have a network of people that believe in what I'm doing.
I need to be part of your network.
Absolutely. That's
right, we need this crowdfunding.
So that's actually how I've actually managed to grow in the space. And with regards to clients, I'm not afraid to cold call. I'm not. I have days where I spend time on the internet and I say, I want you as a client, and I want you as a client. I want you as a client. And
that's a lot of research there.
Yeah, and I'm happy you mentioned cold calling because having started, obviously, the summit, I've managed to get to know a number of your colleagues or your counterparts. And you find stories of trucks, not getting work, not getting loads, things are standing, people are indebted. And when you mention the importance of cold calling and selling, I think oftentimes some people just get a contract and
hope that
thinking
they've done the work.
They've done the work. So it's quite
which is not the case. I that's what I'm saying. I sit and I would then say, okay, these are the clients that I want. And I would literally make sure that I have context of who the person I should be talking to. And I will literally stalk
the person. So that also demystifies this thinking, no, you must know someone.
No.
You start the relationship from scratch.
With all the clients that I have, I did not know a single person in your voice corporates. Yes. I literally picked up the phone and I said, who is your logistics manager? I would like to come and see them.
Yeah. What would you say, and this is for all of us entrepreneurs here, what would you say has been some of your challenges as an entrepreneur, going out there, on your own, and facing the world? It's just a cold call is a difficult thing to do because often the person on the other side, you have no control of what they're going to say to you, right? The response and how it lands. On you. Because when it comes on you, when you're not ready, it can tear a lot of things apart.
The rejection.
Yeah, the rejection is hectic. You always have to be. Yeah, so how do you guys keep yourself motivated? How do you guys keep yourself, get your head, above the water all the time? How do you, and some people have got support, be it family, be it what, but what is it, what would you say are some of the things as a panel that you hold on a constant basis that keeps you going over and over and over again?
Yeah. Do you want to answer that?
I think you can't be an entrepreneur if you're scared of rejection.
Lovely.
Yeah.
100%.
That's right. That's right.
And failure.
Yeah, that's right.
Then you're in the wrong field altogether.
100%.
So,
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was just going to say with rejection, you on one day will have something that's completely exciting, you land a deal, and then that afternoon you have a rejection.
Yes.
And it's
Yes, it is.
One of the sayings that I heard is Elon Musk. He said, as an entrepreneur, it's like chewing glass at the same time as looking into the abyss.
Whoa.
And it's exactly that. With technology is expensive.
Yeah.
People, having
It's hard to
a
manage.
big team is expensive. So you sort of growing along, and then all of a sudden you get a contract and you grow, and you need those funds to actually grow with it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're looking into the abyss. There's no light yet. You're still chewing glass at the same time and thinking, am I going to get through this? So I think that's one of the challenges, and that goes back to that rejection.
Yeah.
It's you as an entrepreneur, it can't demotivate you. There's no choice. Yeah.
How do you get on?
I think the difficulties that I find face the most in the space is there's already big guys.
Yep.
It's they've been at it for years. So I think what keeps us going is obviously the support, not only from the family, not only from the friends, but even from some of the companies that are within the space. We are a dealer partner for one of the big guys, Mixed Telematics. They've been great support to us. So we assist them with fitments and we do their sales as well. So it's another push for us.
Yes.
Where it assists with cash flow.
Yeah.
So how that all came about was just for them to assist us as a small guys to be able to, while we are growing our company this side, but also have some cash flow on the side. So that has been great support. Mixed Telematics has been great.
Yeah.
We've got a great relationship. So obviously we're knocking on other doors with other companies and just trying to get that kind of assistance.
Yeah.
So I think that has kept us afloat. And of course, just putting your eye on the ball and saying, I want that many users on my system. I need those many people using my tracking device and using my service, and I just need to go out there and push.
Let me ask you again, as a panel, your biggest achievement to date, right? I would assume definitely outweighs your last. Yeah, I would assume so. All the rejections and all the other stuff, because remember, you made a conscious decision to go on your own, right? But I think for the young entrepreneurs watching this, especially as women in the space, the difficulty for most people is to make that change. That okay, today I'm going to make a decision that I'm going to start on my own. All right. And as you had said, Michelle, that you were in industry for 15 years, for you to then make a decision that I'm jumping, I'm leaving my corporate lifestyle, I've got my pay slip that comes on the 25th. I got my pay that comes on the 25th.
My pension fund.
My pension fund, provident fund. I've got benefits. I've even got a vehicle, by the way, right? And all that stuff.
All these benefits.
Yeah. So for you to make that decision, how easy or how difficult was it for you to actually then get to a point of saying, enough is enough, I'm actually going to do this on my own? And what was that thing? What was that thing, the tipping, that just forced you to tip over?
That
because it's
moment,
a difficult
right?
one. Yeah, and everyone has got a different story, and I'd like to hear from you guys. What was your
tipping point?
Yeah.
So, being an entrepreneur, it's so different. And I think just in terms of our industry, because we speak industry and an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
The industry itself, we were speaking about it early on, it's 24/7, 365.
Yeah.
You got to know that. If you want to get into this industry, that comes with a lot of sacrifice and obviously a support structure around you. So be it your husband, your family, your friendship group, etc., you need a support system. Getting into from there to there, I remember at points you say to yourself, no ways, this can't work. You want to give up. It's really pushing through, getting that support system backing you throughout, because otherwise you won't. And also, we were speaking about how many times have we handled, like for me, a breakdown, customer, Saturday afternoon, you're trying to
cook at the same time.
We privilege myself and my husband that we're in the same industry together. So I think that we can we really appreciate what each other's doing.
Yes.
And we can hand over to each other so that other person can just maybe, support the family as we go along. But yeah, it's there's moments in between that you just say, no ways. But the success, and I think it's that satisfaction that comes with it.
Very deep-seated one.
Very deep-seated. I also think the industry itself, it's what we play in breakdowns. It's incredibly emotional, so. And you can imagine as a fleet owner, you have to have the empathy.
Yep.
You've got a fleet owner that's their livelihood. They've got a vehicle stuck on the side of the road.
That's it.
They've got no sight of who's going to come and help them. They've got goods, and we spoke about safety earlier on, goods that might be compromised, a driver that's at risk. So it's really from an emotional point of view, know that you're going to be part of that emotional turmoil, and you actually have to help manage it a bit. And with that also is a bit of satisfaction that you can actually support people on the side of the road.
Absolutely. Sure. Your tipping point.
I've actually been fortunate enough that I have not known a salary slip.
I've got to. I think this is over to me. Her network is amazing. No pay slip. She doesn't work for anyone. You know what I'm saying?
No, she got a friend that gave her money.
You know what I'm saying? She's the one. She's the one.
Right here.
Everything she's talked about today is unfortunate. What?
I have. No, but I think
the mindset she's built inside of her.
So I went to varsity, studied BCom accounting. Parents had hopes of a CA in the family. And I did VAC work I actually 2 contracts at one of the 2 big firms. I did. And I did VAC work one December for one, and then the next June I did for the other one, and I was like, okay. I'm not doing this. And I actually said, no, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
And that's when I finished, I think at about 22, 23, that's when this whole, I have a contract for you, we'll buy you vehicles.
Yeah, it came
about.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that's when it started. Okay.
That's when it started.
So you've never worked for anyone?
No.
She's always been rebellious.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And she's very fortunate.
She's always been. I would assume that autonomy has been a drive of yours, because for you to want to start like that, I mean, I think I've worked in my life for somebody for like 6-8 months, and then there's one part where I got fired. There's another part because I think as your makeup as a person, you have to be very honest with it. And then there's this fallacy about being an entrepreneur that you play in between, lifestyle and autonomy. But I think maybe autonomy has been a very deep attribute of yours, and independence and being a self-starter and things like that.
Completely. I think my personality, what I also knew is that I don't want to work for anybody.
So you knew that from earlier on?
I knew that from very early on.
Okay.
So even within the ups and the very lows that you go through as an entrepreneur, I've never had an option. I've never thought that there's actually an option of ever going to employment. So I've never been given that as if this doesn't work out, I'm going to go back or I'm going to go to
CV.
So you are forced to get it right.
Yes.
You're forced to. Got to get it right. Yeah. Got no choice. It has to work.
It has to work. And hence I'm saying it also has built my character as a person.
Yes.
Because I've had lots of rejections, lots of failures, and you working months on end sometimes where you're scrambling to put food on your table. Yes.
Proper bootstrap.
But, there's an end goal and a vision that you have for yourself to say, this is what I'm working towards. And it builds character. And that's for anybody that's trying to get into, break away from that day-to-day 9-to-5 employment to move into this. I think you got to know the risk, and you got to know that it's not all roses.
No, it's not.
It's not at all.
But people find it very difficult. Even as much as you're saying this, I can tell you right now, people that are going to be watching this, they see big truck, they see big money.
Yep.
They hear app technology, they think it's so easy to raise those funds for that app, They hear about what she's doing, they think it's going to be so easy for them to get that software because, hey, look at you guys. Hey, you're now on a podcast. How would you then, further on that, when you say it's not all roses, make sure that people really have a reality check in that as much as you want to play in this space or in this industry, it's not what it looks like.
I think also the biggest thing that I've found is the misconception that I have 500,000, I have R1 million in my account, I'm going to buy a truck. There is a gazillion of those people around that are now sitting with trucks that they actually didn't even have a vision for what they wanted to do because they heard from Florence that, hey, get a truck, we are moving coal, we are moving
now.
There's an opportunity.
There's an opportunity, let's do this. And there is a lot of those that unfortunately right now are sitting with debt. Big debt. That they can't service the debt, and they don't have work, and unfortunately for a lot of those people is that because they initially didn't even have a vision, they don't even know where to go to actually get business.
So they were just opportunistic.
And
so the role of a vision and a why is so important.
It's very
why are you doing what you're doing?
Very important. And I mean, when I sit at the beginning of every year and I put a vision board, and it's actually amazing. I literally I'll go find the company that I want to do this. I'll cut out.
You're still there, huh?
And I put it there.
Still there.
I do. And I'll put it there and come. It was amazing at the end of last year when I saw one of the corporates that I put on there, and I was like,
Well, you know what? I think for
Tobeka.
Yes, and not even Tobeka. I think maybe also just the tipping point. But I think once the second to that, I'd want to also understand what your visions are for the next 5 years. Where, first of all, where do you see your business? And where do you sit in the next 5 years? What kind of impact do you think you're going to achieve? And really, what are your targets? And if you're not shy, mention the figure. I'm going to be a
you never know her
billionaire business. Just fortunate. I might be a business, So in that, I think as you answer your tipping point.
Tipping point, as an entrepreneur, you need to be very versatile. At the end of the day, you need to know. Sometimes they say a good dancer knows when to be the stage.
Absolutely.
You need to read the room. You need to read, the space you are in and see how it's working towards you, especially if it starts eating away at your lifestyle. For us with the logistics, that's what was starting to happen. That you're seeing that I'm no longer progressing, I'm regressing backwards. So you now need to move. As much as some people think being an entrepreneur, you have to do one thing for 20 years. That makes you an entrepreneur.
It's not linear.
What makes you an entrepreneur is how you can then pick yourself up. Don't look at it as a failure. It's not a failure. You just need to reinvent yourself. So reinventing yourself is very important in entrepreneurship. So that's technically how I know into the stage. I'm looking at the room, I'm looking at because as we are saying, even politically, a lot of changes are coming into place.
Regulations as well.
Regulations are coming into place. So it's all of those things you need to sit and look at and be like, is this still in line with my goal? Or will I still be able to achieve this? So for me, that's just the tipping point. There's no certain event, but it's what's going on in your life at that particular moment, depending on which industry you are in. And then goals. I've got big goals. I've got huge goals, but there's a lot of stumbling blocks as well. Considering there's a lot of capital actually that's also needed in what I'm doing. The hardware in itself is expensive. So you come to me with a fleet of 100 trucks. I need to make sure I get the hardware, which is extremely expensive. I need to dispatch the technicians to go out and do the fitment. So there's a lot of expenses, upfront expenses that I also incur on my side. So my goal is to obviously hopefully in the next 5 years, be one of the big guys.
Yes.
In the fleet management. And
I wish I could do it.
I wish I had a belt. You know, like these podcasts that have got that. I'm going to borrow that thing. I'll go get it. Maybe Thibaut Touch has painted it, but it's okay. We'll just go bam, 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 or something like that. Yeah.
You know,
okay.
so where your name speaks for itself.
Yes.
Yeah, you build a solid brand.
Build a solid brand. That's definitely something that I'm working towards. And take some of what the ladies here said today. I'm really not a cold calling person.
You're gonna go cold call, right?
Maybe that's one of the reasons why I feel like my business is it's in such a corner, you know. So try and implement new things to try and grow my business, and then in the next 5 years, have 5 good contracts, maybe about have 10,000 users on the platform.
Yeah.
That's just my vision.
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful.
And it's attainable, right?
Yeah,
it's a lot of work.
5 years, be there. We'll hold you to account. We'll do it.
Time starts now.
No, time now.
7th June.
Yeah.
Right now, yeah. From a vision point of view, so I think where we were, where we are, and where we're going.
Yeah.
So where we were just created for one fleet owner. Okay, we were just connecting his trucks, his workshops.
Happy. Yeah.
Where we evolved to, we were privileged. We didn't do cold calling. We had early adopters that actually became. They were visionaries, you know, from a tech point of view. 5 years back in the transport industry, it was very focused on delivery rather than what we do.
Yeah.
And we definitely had early adopters in our industry that took on our product and have just evolved as we've evolved, which has been fantastic. So it's really, that's where we are now. Just from a product point of view, we offer the apps, we offer the platform. We've also we've got a whole call center that we can offer as well to support transporters' needs if they don't have their own control room. And quite recently, we've been into software as a service where we can actually embed our software with transporters' control centers if they want to run it themselves. So that's sort of where we are right now. Where we're going is we've gone cross-border. And it always presents its unique challenges,
and opportunities
that we're working with. So next step, over the seas. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
You know, so
over the sun.
Over the seas.
So go over there. So I think also one of the questions that we asked earlier on is about growth and how do we grow? You know, so. You had a friend. We actually approached a South African tech company or a South African investor that supports tech companies, which it's a VC that is phenomenal and has done a lot for so many different companies in this country, as well as cross-border as well. And Hawaii, they are our tech partner and funder, because we realized, you know, we want to grow. We've got these big visions and big dreams. You actually need to partner with the visionary that will help support that vision. Even when you go to them, like, what's going? But they see the end goal of what you're trying to achieve.
They're as ambitious
100%.
as you are.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So that's the next step for us.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's where we are.
Makhubalo?
I think my vision is led by what I want to achieve in my personal, my own lifestyle. So I am trying to build a company that is systems are in check, that I do not necessarily want to be there 5 years from now. Yes, I don't want to be doing the 24/7 way. I know where driver A, driver B, driver C is.
You are enough with the waking up at midnight
and checking.
You know,
I can help.
You can help.
Collaboration.
We
I might reach it before the 5 years.
What's up?
So I think more than anything, I want to have a business that I can walk away from and be able to actually sell or exit at some point in my life, because what's very important for me is my time. I got into a business that is very time consuming.
Yep.
And I'm aware of that. And in order for me to be able to own my time again, I need to make sure that I have the right clients, I have the right people, I have the right systems in place.
Absolutely.
So at the time, it might not be a figure or a number of trucks or whatever the case might be. It's that it needs to afford me my time back where I am running it from anywhere in the world.
Hello.
That's what I
In a
wanna
boat
I love
somewhere
it.
in
I
Monaco,
love it. I
right?
love
That's what I want to do.
With what you mentioned, support is going to be needed, right, from industry. And I would like you to give the industry some ideas of how they could potentially support businesses within the space, doing what, Michelle, you're doing, or Tobeka, you're doing, for them to think creatively about the business support that they can cater, especially those ones that are looking to partner with small businesses. What kind of support are you looking for, or would you say that they should consider? They must just give you a lot of loads. No?
Yes.
Yeah, done.
A lot of loads.
I think, just from our side, it's we local.
Yeah.
So we hear it's what we are doing is disruptive. I actually don't like that word, but I've realized the amount of debate you get, because remember, we're creating an ecosystem of professional technicians. That's our to service our industry's needs. That's really, we're trying to get technicians to get to a truck quick enough. So it's really to maybe, I would appreciate more collaboration, because we're not individual silos. We're all part of the same industry, and it's not all these different breakaway groups. I think we're all one group. When we speak. We were speaking just now and everyone started laughing, maybe for non-transporters that don't understand the WhatsApp mentality, running 200 different groups.
Yes.
It's to try and collaboratively find ideas together to professionalize the industry and appreciate the industry. Yeah. I think, a lot of times you get on the road and people say, oh, truck drivers.
She's already has to check her phone right now because the driver's calling her.
That's exactly what's happening.
And that's the reality of the industry.
Silence.
That's the reality. Yeah. But it's appreciation, really.
I think in the telematics space, we are more problem solvers. Yeah. So you're a business owner, you've got a problem, you want to know where your vehicle is at what time, it enters a certain zone. So in that space, we need more assistance in terms of financial assistance, I feel. Because we want to come up with more solutions. We don't want just to be where we are, only offer what we are offering. We want to come up with more solutions where we can assist a broader base of people or broader base of businesses. So I think financial assistance is very important, and obviously more collaboration. So if more bigger companies can open their doors more, less strict in terms of certifications, because you find sometimes
less strict.
the certifications are impossible. You're like, okay, we're still a small business, so you look at sometimes a document that when they are looking for a service
compliance,
and you're like, I'm already out. And sometimes it's not really compliance that means you're not able to do the job. It's just red tapes that are put there to ensure that a certain group of people only get to do the certain work. So if we can get government also involved in assisting us to minimize those red tapes, we're not saying we don't have to be compliant, but let's try and be inclusive in the approach. All the other small businesses.
No, that is very interesting. Any more questions on your side?
No. Yes.
I actually just want to comment onto what industry can do for us, the small businesses. I think in the space that I play in, you get a lot of your corporate clients that will put out a tender that wants a Mahlako to have come with 100 trucks. Mahlako is a small business. She does not have that. And I think they are then, if I want to call it, for lack of a better word, lazy to work with us
Mm-hmm.
because it's easier for them to go get a big other transporter because they just go there and say, okay, all the routes are covered. Versus, I mean, it's a conversation that we were having earlier on to say, why can you not get 5 mahlakos and say, you do this part, you do that portion, you do that portion.
That's right.
Yes, there's a lot more management that needs to happen there, but I think that's the only way to grow the smaller players within the industry. So they need to give us those opportunities to say, okay, yes, you are coming with your 10 trucks, you're coming with your 5. How can I make these guys work for us versus them just going out and getting one big player, because then they're not opening up the industry for the rest of us.
Yeah.
So then the business keeps going to the very same people, and we are completely closed out from that. So I think that's my 2 cents with that. And I think more than the other thing that I wanted to talk about was the financing. You get your government institutions that do the financing, but the financing takes 6 months to approve. Like, who's going to wait for you 6 months later? Nobody. So if I'm coming to you with a contract that I have this, you can't now be saying, bring your 2 files of documentation and this person's going to look at it today and Mamang must come back a week later, then somebody else, and then 6 months to a year, you're now getting funding, which is not realistic in business. You're going to be out of business in no time. You're going to miss out on all those opportunities. So I think even whether it's red tapes or whatever hurdles that they build so high that we need to cross for us to get those funding, they need to relook
to be slightly lenient and
the time it takes.
Yeah. I think also from their end, it could be a risk mitigation angle.
Swear what you know today, 6 months later.
It's not there. Yeah, no, 100%. Any last question? Can we?
I think for me, Tobeka, Michelle, I think what you guys have showed us and as an entrepreneur I've learned as well is that and what gives me a bit of comfort is that we're all going through this together.
Yep.
Whether you are in whatever industry, there seems to be some similarities in it. For us, one thing that I always thought it was always myself, 24 hours, and my team were always 24 hours on the phone, checking this, checking that, and it's difficult to date, it's difficult to do this, difficult to do whatever, because
balance
you just
life in
you could imagine having a date and not dinner and then like what happened to you.
Right now.
Oh, shut up.
You don't have to imagine.
Yeah.
There is no balance.
Can you see I'm not looking at
You tried.
Dying inside.
We've got a whole amazing team that is handling exactly that.
Just selling. This part of the world is great.
Like transporters, you can try and reach balance.
Yes.
So our company is called R&R, right?
Yes.
So
Right now response.
100%. Or rest and relaxation. Just say,
I love that.
they are. Or rum and raspberry, but I don't know that one. Maybe transport.
Yeah. No. So that's my gauge of it. But I think what's important out of all this is that, one, what I've picked up is, as an entrepreneur, you have to be resilient.
Yep.
You have to be committed and dedicated to what you want to do. And I've also picked up out of all this that you can do it.
Yep.
It will take time, but there's definitely a breakthrough somewhere.
Yeah.
And you just keep on knocking. As you said, cold calling is an option that most people don't like it, but some people have never tried it.
Yep.
You've tried it, as fortunate as you are. Network. I'd like to see some collaboration
happening here.
Collaboration here. But I think what's important is we've got an entrepreneur, but there's also solutions that can help the entrepreneur in terms of a trucker, or you in the logistics space in terms of actually fleet owner. There are products that can make your life much, much, much better.
Yeah.
And I think the guy that has 2 trucks, the guy that has 5 trucks out there actually is, call it, affordable solutions that can make your life easier, and then you can focus on other things and not necessarily worry about where's my truck, or if there's a breakdown, you know that there's an app that the driver can quickly link up to your control room or link up to.
And
those are the solutions. Yes. And luckily she'll give everybody who's watching this the network
I
to
do
everybody.
have one last question before we we wrap up.
Yes.
I would like to give you an opportunity just to say thank you to the people that have supported you, your family. Oftentimes you're back, stuck in your business. You miss sometimes probably school pickups. You miss anniversary dates. You just miss some stuff because you're so in your business, and they've bared with you for a very long time. Even your staff members, when you lose your temper, and sometimes you write an email that's very emotive, and it can land, and they've just been there and bared with you because they believe in this vision. What would you like to say to them?
Go ahead.
So I would probably say thank you to my husband for getting me into 24/7, 365 day industry without me knowing. But he's obviously a support and rock between it. But our family has been forgiving. When we are on the phone, they're helping wherever they can, and I think that's just an amazing testament to what can happen if you've got that support structure. We've got the most amazing team that have the attitude and the aptitude to do and go above and beyond. We really are so privileged to have these individuals that care about what we do and care about our customers and care about the mechanics on the side of the road. Just a sideline note, just in terms of appreciation, is also to all the mechanics in South Africa. So when you go in past that truck and it's raining and there's the wind is blowing the rain and you see that guy on the side of the road trying to get someone moving, it's really important to know that #mechanics matter because they really do. They go above and beyond. And they also leave their families on weekends to go and support all the fleet owners out there.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate the network that's out there.
Thank you.
Do you want to say something to your...
I would
look into the camera.
Which camera?
No, this kind of questions always make a person stop and reflect.
No, I think the person that has been absolutely irreplaceable with my business and where I am today is a woman called Abigail. The first driver that I employed. And she took it. I poached her from where I bought my first truck. And she came with loads of knowledge of the industry. And she's my right hand that where I have blind spots, which I had a lot of getting into the industry. She'll be like, boss lady, and she's still with me today. And I don't think I have a bigger cheerleader than her. Abigail is
shout out.
Shout out to Abigail.
She is. I would not be where I am because of her and the knowledge and she helps me a lot. And that's what I'm saying. She was hired as a driver, but she came with a whole lot more. And then the others would be those that the network that
you all want to be part of.
Those that believed in my idea. I'm not going to mention them by name. They know who they are. That when I said I have a new client, I need a new truck, and they're like, let's see what we can do. Those are the people that I'm here because of.
Wonderful. Tabeka?
For me, I think it will start with my partner. Very supportive. He's a serial entrepreneur himself. So it's a madhouse. We don't sleep. We do it together. Pickups. We take turns if we have to. So definitely a driving force as well, even behind contract, because I obviously wouldn't be able to do it alone. And my beautiful boys, they motivate me to get up every morning and make sure it works. They motivate me to do more research where I'm falling behind. They motivate me to ensure that I need to move forward. So definitely them. And my mom. My mommy, she's great. She's very supportive on my downtimes. When I feel like I can't do it anymore, this is just too much. Let me just go look for a job. She's like, keep going.
Yeah.
Do it. There's no
And
jobs
you need
out there
that.
anyways.
Yeah.
There is no jobs out there.
I like that. No jobs.
So keep going. So she's definitely a driving force. And yeah, I think family all around. And then obviously the colleagues that I work with, my staff, I have an amazing team. Obviously, when we moved into the telematics space, we didn't have much experience. We had more logistics experience. So we took what we had, came into the telematics space and found a great team of people who were working for big companies, of people who understand the industry. So they were able to assist, and thank you very much for your hard work and always showing up, for understanding in the months when things are not good. Because you need a team where you can sit down, they become your family and be like, guys, we have a vision this month, the next month, so they are a great team.
Negotiating payment.
But it's paying off. That's the beautiful thing. It's paying off every day. Whenever you get that contract or you get that client and it's taking off, it's paying off for them as well. And I'm just glad that I have such a great support structure around me.
Awesome.
Thank you, Flo.
Thank you.
Wrap it up for us.
Let us wrap it up, but thank you to everybody for can we give ourselves a round of applause? It's the first episode for the first season on the road.
Sorry, can we say something? Thank you for doing this.
Yes.
Spotlight on the road freight industry and
very
different entrepreneurs in the industry. I think it's phenomenal.
It is for SMEs and about SMEs. Thank you so much for watching our first episode, and it is brought to you by the Road Freight SME Summit. If you're one of them, make sure that you do visit the website, the Road Freight SME Summit website. I'm sure it's going to pop up somewhere on your screen. Book your seat for this year's conference as it's getting bigger and better. And see you on the next episode when we sit yet again with a group of dynamic entrepreneurs profiling the best. You're the best in the industry, because this industry plays a very critical role to the economy of South Africa, and SMEs are the backbone of this economy. Thank you. It is a wrap.
Thank you.
Thank you.